James Herbert Blake, also known as Eubie, was a well-known composer, lyricist, and pianist of ragtime jazz and popular music. Born in Baltimore, Maryland, to slaves John Sumner Blake and Emily Emma Johnston on February 7, 1883. Eubie was the only surviving child of 8, which all died at infancy. He was so talented that he was put in a musical training program at the age of 4, and by the time he was 6, he had mastered the skills to play a pump organ. At 15 years old, he began writing songs, playing the piano at many different brothels, saloons, and local sporting houses. In 1905, Blake moved to New York City, where he soon tried to publish his first song called Sounds of Africa with Marion Cook and Kurt Schindler. But the song didn't get published until 1917 under a different name, which was Charleston Rag. Soon after, Blake left NYC to return back home to Baltimore. In 1910, he married Avis Lee, who was an accomplished classical pianist. 4 years later, he successfully published his first song, Chevy Chase. Even though Eubie had accomplished a lot, his career did not take off until he met Noble Sissle in 1915.
Noble Sissle was known as a jazz composer, lyricist, bandleader, singer, and playwright. Born in Indianapolis, Indiana on July 10, 1889, to Reverend George A. Sissle and Martha Angeline Sissle. His interest in music came from his father, who was a minister and organist. As a young boy, Sissle sung in church choirs. 1908, at the age of 17, Sissle and his family moved to Cleveland before graduating from high school. Sissle was a member of a male quartet for a 4-week tour in the same circuit. Before he took on music full-time, Sissle attended Butler University. In 1915, Sissle decided to leave Cleveland to move to Baltimore, Maryland, where he soon met Eubie Blake, both members of Joe Parcher's Serenaders. Within the same year they met, Sissle and Blake became songwriting partners, publishing their first song together named It's All Your Fault. Following that, Sissle was invited to work for James Reese Europe in 1916 at his Clef Club, serving as a drum major and playing the violin from time to time. Within 3 to 4 months, Sissle was leading his own orchestra inside the organization. Soon later, Eubie Blake rejoined him, calling themselves the Dixie Duo. Sissle and Blake performed without blackface and with an onstage piano as their only prop. Their opening number was "Gee, I'm Glad I'm from Dixie."
In 1916, Eubie Sissle and James Reese Europe all agreed to collaborate on a musical that would be named Shuffle Along, but were soon interrupted by Sissle in Europe's military duties in World War I. Blake was not enlisted in the army because he was 35, which made him too old. By 1919, Sissle in Europe had returned to the U.S., and shortly after, James Reese Europe was killed by one of his band members, leaving Eubie and Sissle to continue working on the planned musical. On May 23, 1921, Shuffle Along had premiered with the help of Florrie Miller and Aubrey Lowes. Shuffle Along was known to be one of the first Broadway musicals to be written and directed by African Americans, which was also a box office hit.
Some of the songs from the musical later became great hits, which were "I'm Just Wild About Harry," "Love Will Find a Way," and "In the Honeysuckle Time." By 1924, Noble Sissle and Eubie Blake had written a dozen songs together and soon tried to create another production called The Chocolate Dandies. The show was considered a failure because it didn't fit the stereotype of fast dancing and Negroid humor. In the year of 1925, both Sissle and Blake toured Europe while writing songs for a British review. During this time, they began to have disagreements about their work, so they decided to come back to the U.S. Once returned, Sissle changed his mind and returned back to Europe, splitting up the Dixie Duo. Noble Sissle died December 17, 1975, known as the only African American artist to appear in the Pathé Film Archives.
Eubie Blake was considered to be an important figure in early 20th century in African American music, composing more than 300 songs. In 1979, in his honor, a musical was created and named Eubie for all his hard work over the years. In his lifetime of music, Eubie Blake received numerous honors from honorary doctorates from Brooklyn College, Rutgers University, Dartmouth College, and New England Conservatory of Music.
In 1981, Blake was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. On February 12, 1983, 5 days after his 100th birthday, James Hubert Eubie Blake died of old age.